Well, hello, everybody. Welcome into a Friday edition of the Computer America Show. Yes, it's Friday, and both hours we're going to have Ralph Bond here with us, talking about some of the cool things that he finds. He's Autodesk Ralph Bond, and we're going to have a terrific show. Of course, also we'll have our social media winner of the week. We'll be announcing that as well. The contest probably in the second hour, as we traditionally do here on the show. But it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of topics. We have the cheat notes up too at computeramerica.com if you want to follow along. We make those available to you. But it should be a very entertaining 2 hours, as it always is with Ralph. And, any good movies coming out? Well, we'll talk about that on the air.
1 minute until showtime.
So
look that up.
Yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy 2 hours of Computer America coming at you right here. Okay. Put a little movie music.
I don't know that movie.
There you go.
I don't know that movie.
It's Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Huh.
From Marvel. It's Marvel's introduction.
The more you know.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds.
Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it is Friday! Again,
It's a shame we only get one of those a week.
Yeah, well, but of course it wouldn't be so special if we got more, exactly. But
What? Who wouldn't want every day to be Friday?
That's very true. Yeah. But it is, as I said, Friday, and we have a terrific show planned for you today. Of course, one of the TV series that I watch is on Max, Cinemax, and I didn't realize that it started like a week ago, and I went, I missed the opening of it, but fortunately, thanks to on demand, I was able to catch the first episode. It's interesting. Sometimes these things sneak by you, because I was really waiting for the opening, and but thanks to the internet and cord cutting and all the things that come with that, even if you haven't cut the cord, you benefit. So if you miss something, you can watch it at any time, which is really, really nice. In the old days, if you missed it on one of the networks, you missed it. That was it. Couldn't catch it again.
Then you hope someone taped it, and if no one taped it, then...
That's right. Oh, by any chance did you tape that on your VCR? I remember having conversations like that, too.
I don't believe that the vast majority of people out there actually got the express written consent of NBC and CBS and their affiliates. So, yeah, a lot of law breaking going on back then, too.
Yes, well, fortunately that doesn't, at least...
Did you hear about the first ever, the first ever football, the NFL Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl?
Yeah. And
there's only one copy in existence that is known, and a gentleman owns it. His name escapes me, but because really his biggest claim to fame is that he owns the only known copy of the first ever football, Super Bowl game.
What is that worth?
Well, he wanted to get how much did he offer? He offered the NFL or CBS. I think CBS owns the rights to the football games. He offered to sell it to them for $1 million for charity or something like that.
Yeah.
Or even to himself. I don't know. It was $1 million, which, you think NFL, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, maybe not multi-billion, but hundreds of millions of dollars. You think for the only known copy, you think they'd be happy to pony up. They came back with an offer of $30,000 to buy it from him, and then like before he said yes or no, they actually pulled the offer off the table and said that if you ever try to sell it to anyone else, we'll hit you so fast with lawsuits because it's not technically yours to sell that your head will spin. So they, the only known copy, and they completely shut the guy down and won't buy it from him.
That's awful.
Fun fact that I guess there really isn't footage of the first ever Super Bowl.
Right, and I guess there won't be.
Not anytime soon.
They should have just offered him whatever.
Seriously, even if it was $1 million, that is a drop in the bucket compared to the amount of publicity you could get and the amount of exposure you could get for airing again the first ever Super Bowl.
They probably talked to some lawyer on theirs, and he went.
Why though? Oh, it just a piece of football history, and
no one can see it now. Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well. Okay. On that wonderful up note. Of course, let me just tell you that if you have a comment or question, we're going to open our phone lines for us and Ralph. 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. 347-884-8881. Give us a call, or you can go to any page at computeramerica.com. In the upper right-hand corner of any page, it'll say "Submit a Question." You can click that. It'll take you to our question submission page. You can type in your question, hit the submit button. Ben and I will see it immediately and work and act upon it. Or if you also, we invite you to watch our show. Yes, we know we're a radio broadcast, but we also offer live video streaming at computeramerica.com. Again, any page, the menu bar, it's the show lounge. Just click that. It'll take you to our live video streaming. You'll be joined to the show already in progress when you do that, and you can watch the show. And you can see myself, you'll see Ben, you'll see Ralph. Also, Ben has the technology to display websites, videos, links, movies, all that, so you can interact with us accordingly. And it just makes for a more interactive experience. Okay, so let's get Ralph on with us, and we can, Ralph is wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and he doesn't live in Hawaii, so I'm curious to know as to why he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt in the middle of winter.
Well, no, middle of spring.
Middle of spring, okay. There must be a reason, and we'll find out. So let's introduce him now. Yes, he's back. Bond is back, and we've got him. It's all Bond on today's show. Yep. He's Bond, Ralph Bond. Ralph Bond is a correspondent for the Computer America show. He's the author of Family, Computer Fun, Digital Ideas Using Your Photos, Movies, and Music, and that's published by Q Publishing. He's also the co-author of the PC Dad's Guide to Becoming a Computer Smart Parent by Dell Publishing. Ralph was Intel's Consumer Education Manager for more than 10 years, and for nearly the past 8.5 years, he's been part of Autodesk's communications team. Ralph, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Oh, it's great to be with you. And talking about weather, well, the shirt here, folks, yeah. The reason I'm wearing my honor to Jimmy Buffett kind of, laid-back shirt is because Oregon is in its second day of an extraordinarily record-breaking heat wave for us this time of year. Ready for this? Portland, Oregon, yesterday was 84 degrees.
Oh
dun, dun, dun. Oh my God, global warming. And then today it's 80, but classic Oregon weather. Tomorrow, 62 or something like, it's just like, and then it'll be that way for many, many days with rain and all that kind of crazy stuff. But man, I'll tell you, it was just like summery. Everybody in our whole neighborhood, you could hear lawnmowers, power washers, everything just going off all of a sudden yesterday because people went, we can go outside. We can start digging out of winter. Wow. Crazy, man. And then that music, that Bond music, I saw Spectre. I saw the latest film.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it last week, and I really enjoyed it. I think they did a great job, and I remember you, Craig, talking about how much you liked it, too.
Did you see it in the movie theaters, or you saw it on?
No, in my home theater. Same difference. Big
Okay.
screen,
Yeah.
big sound.
But no participating audience. In other words, everybody you saw it just by yourself.
Well, and my dog.
And your dog. Yeah.
And yet the popcorn still costs you $14.
Not my popcorn, buddy. In fact, talk about popcorn. Okay, if you're a movie nut and you do your own thing at home with popcorn, go to Costco. I'm about to buy it. You can get 44 packages of microwave popcorn. 44 Kirkland brand Costco popcorn for, wait for it, just under $10.
Wow.
What is that? 44 into $10. What is that, like 25 cents? But what, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's like nothing.
I know.
Unbelievable.
I know I'm being picky and fussy when I do this, but one of the things that I like about I buy Orville Redenbacher popcorn,
yes,
and not
wonderful.
because the name. I mean, that's,
No.
but because it comes in a very clever packaging, and when you do it, it comes up into it comes into a bowl. It actually opens up into a bowl.
Wow.
And then you peel off the red top, and it's just very, very convenient, So.
It's important when you're watching movies. These are the important things to know. That's right. And my wife, by the way, Orville Redenbacher, she uses the plain kernels because she does air pop.
Oh yeah.
So she uses those products, and I drove by there on the way from Chicago to Indianapolis. You go by all the Orville Redenbacher farms and plants and all that stuff, and it's an enormous operation. No surprise.
Of course.
I absolutely believe it. But I mean, if you're buying your popcorn from Costco or Sam's Club or what have you, one of these bulk stores, I think they also sell, the big old carts that you see in movie theaters, like, they have like the metal pan that you pour the kernels into and it pops over. Like, I think they even sell the entire unit at those stores.
Well, you can get certainly on Amazon. You can find, of course, almost.
I can get everything on Amazon. What? Amazon's great.
Yeah, we buy a lot of stuff from Amazon.
Guilty.
we actually bought so much stuff off Amazon. They actually sent me an email saying, "Hey, I think it's like we think you would benefit from a business account." I'm like, "Holy crap! Maybe we're pushing too much volume through Amazon right now."
Oh man, yeah, but it's fun. Yeah, good movies, good stuff going on, and you talk about Marvel, the Marvel Captain America. Wasn't Jessica Jones on Netflix? That's a Marvel production.
That's Marvel. Yes, Jessica.
Boy, that was so dark and so unusual. I love it.
I'm saving the very last episode of Daredevil. Because I just haven't gotten around to it, and I'm sort of saving it. It's the closing one for the second season.
Well, they canceled it after the second season. Like, they're not going to do a third or a fourth.
They are.
He's kidding us.
That's a lie. They're going to do it. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They're able to churn that series out in like 8 months, and then people are just fawning over it. Of course they're going to do more.
Yeah. Good.
The second season was even better than the first. And another one that I really like, but it's in its final season, is Banshee, which is on Cinemax. That was the one that I was referring to, a TV show that premiered the final season, and it was like last week. I missed it, but fortunately, thanks to On Demand, I could immediately. I mean, it's so nice that you can do things like that. If you miss it, thank goodness we're not prisoner to the three networks, like the
free at last.
Exactly.
Well, and I don't know if you have this included in the stories, which or in the articles that you picked out, which we're gonna get to soon, folks. Calm down.
Oh, that.
But I don't know if you have that included, but HBO was the first one to break off of the cable package,
right?
$15, and then I think it was Cinemax was the next one after that. Mm-hmm. And now Starz just came out with theirs.
Oh, okay.
So now you can get pretty much any premium channel online.
I'll tell you. Yep, the cable industry needs to wake up. These cable providers need to wake up and get more flexible.
Like the last real holdout, although I think Twitter just got the rights to stream the NFL, like the Thursday NFL football game.
Yeah, that's right. They did. That was big news this week. You're right.
Yeah, they got that, but then it won't be long before sports, kind of separate themselves from cable packages, and then the golden age can begin.
Yeah, we're getting there. Every day's getting freer and freer and freer and freer until my hands disappear. There we go.
Or more and more free. Exactly. Either way, how you want. But let me
More
tell you,
and more free.
uh, let me just let our listeners know also that one of the things that Ralph does for us, and certainly we highly recommend that you take advantage of it, is that he also gives us cheat notes. So in addition, if you're not watching it, or even if you're watching it, Ralph takes the time to do these stories. In the cheat notes, there are photographs. There are also links to the actual story, so you can see it for yourself. And you have access to that as well. If you go to computeramerica.com, you'll see Ralph's the show for today. You click on it, you'll see big red letters in the description says cheat notes. If you click that, it'll open up a Google Docs document, and then you can see everything we're talking about as well. Also, if you listen, or if you're going to the Blog Talk Radio Network, and you're watching us there's a link right there in that show description. It says cheat notes. Click that, and you'll be able to follow along as well. Okay, so that said and done. By the way, any good movies coming out this weekend, Ben?
The Boss. If you are a fan of Melissa McCarthy,
Yes.
and of course it is R-rated, so obviously. But yeah, that's premiering this weekend.
Ridiculous stuff.
She is, a comedian. I think that she's a comedian there, right up with Lucille Ball. She's a very
She's very active,
A
very
great physical
comedy.
comedian.
Yeah, she does some great physical comedy.
Yeah, she is. You know what, though, guys? I'll tell you what. I think her very best film, in terms of a serious role, if you want to call it that. Well, yes, it was Saint Vincent. Have you seen that movie with Bill Murray? And she plays the next door neighbor. Oh, fellas, that's where she shines as an actress. Okay,
Really?
I mean, I love her as a funny comedian, and I appreciate that. But if you want to get an idea of the range of this woman's capabilities, check out Saint Vincent with Bill Murray. Just a wonderful film.
And then to truly appreciate the range, immediately after, go see The Boss, and you'll see the polar opposite of that.
The other end. Like, what was it, Spy last year or something?
Yeah.
Crazy movie.
Yeah,
I saw that.
And like the reviews for The Boss, the movie that's coming out today, like yes, as I like reviews, I like people who tell me what's going to happen before I get there. But they say that like Melissa McCarthy, like everyone seems to be on her side. Like everyone's like, we know she's funny, we know she can be funny, but then they're kind of running into the same thing that Ryan Reynolds ran into with like the Green Lantern and stuff like that. It's like we know he's a good actor, we believe he's a good actor. It's like we just want him in that movie, and like everyone's pulling for Melissa McCarthy. It's just a lot of people don't think The Boss was it, but they believe in her. They believe in her as an actor.
Well, I was very disappointed. I know it's not politically correct to call her an actress, but hey, I'm old school.
Oh, I'm old. That's why. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm old.
But
Why is that not PC?
because
No, you can't say hostess anymore. You can't say stewardess anymore. You can't say actress anymore. You can't say authoress anymore. There's all those S's that have to go.
Yeah.
Equal footing.
Yeah.
Don't
Anyhow,
forget.
my wife and I were a big fan of her TV series Mike and Molly, and when they canceled that was terrible because we really liked that too. And now Billy
Good show.
Gardell, who played Mike, is a game show host doing the Monopoly game.
Oh my, interesting. Huh.
Yeah, but and she's out making movies. I mean, they're certainly doing well, but the Mike and Molly TV shows was a shame. I thought it was a shame that they canceled it. Anyhow, let me just mention real quickly that again the cheat notes are up, and again you can go to computeramerica.com or at Blog Talk Radio, the Computer America show there, and there's a link to the cheat notes, and you can follow along for yourself. One thing I just want to note, because Ralph does work for Autodesk, and a number of the stories this week are on 3D printing, which is great because, hey, 3D printing is really interesting, but if you're wondering why, well, there's a little bit of a tie-in there. But let's start
That's
off.
right. A shameless plug tie-in.
Exactly. But for those of you who are Star Wars fans, by the way, I still haven't seen the Force Awakens, but I just saw it came. I have not seen it. No, I don't think Ben.
I'm
Ben,
shocked. No, wait, time out. This is scarier than 84 degrees in Portland yesterday.
yeah, I haven't.
That you have not seen the latest, and I have. That's scary, buddy.
Yeah, Ben hasn't seen it either. But I just saw. Well, no, he hasn't seen it either. But
I'm gonna wait for all three to come out and then just
binge watch them. No, the thing is, I was in the store the other day and I see now that The Force Awakens is available on Blu-ray, and so it's. I mean, they are becoming available, but I don't think it's in the movie theaters anymore.
Well, yeah, no. The migration from movie to you don't have to do VHS anymore, but from movie to Blu-ray is very very quick. It's usually about a month gap now between the end of the theatrical release to the beginning of the Blu-ray.
Yeah. All right. So anyhow, I started to say that. So I had a point here, but
Was it the story about the game body guys and the big printed?
No. We were talking about 3D printing, and then I thought.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the segue that I was going for. It's like but anyhow, we well, of course the story. Oh yes, I remember what it was. I now remember. Okay. For those of you who remember the Star Wars episode where Luke finds out that Darth Vader is his father, and at that point he finds this happens just before Vader cuts his hand off, and one of the pivotal scenes in the movie, and now of course in the little bit later on in the movie he actually gets an artificial hand and they attach to his arm, and well. This first story, it's not anywhere close to that, but evidently they've come up with a bionic fingertip that lets the amputee feel textures, which I think is amazing.
Yeah,
How does it
is. It's a great story, and by the way, I think Craig, you should create a parallel show called Movies America, where we just go off on movies and TV shows that we like or whatever. Anyway, with that said, great story here from livescience.com. Great website, folks. Story by Charles Choi, and as Craig was saying, it's all about the development of a bionic fingertip to help amputees feel textures. Now, don't get too overly excited. It's still pretty simplistic in terms of what it can do, but it's a trend piece that I thought was really cool. And by the way, there is a nifty YouTube video.
And we're watching.
Got the link. There you go. I can see it. Yeah, that's great. And so you can check out the YouTube video if you have the show notes. If you don't have the show notes, you don't have the link. Get the show notes. Now, it says, using a bionic fingertip, an amputee for the first time has been able to feel rough and smooth textures in real time as though the fingertip were naturally connected to his hand. Now, as Craig was saying, the story goes on to say, after Luke Skywalker got his hand cut off during a duel with Darth Vader in Star Wars, the young Jedi received an artificial hand that helped him both grip and feel again. Scientists worldwide are seeking to make this vision from science fiction into a reality with prosthetic limbs that are wired directly into the nervous systems of their recipients. Friends, we're getting there. Every day we're getting closer to having kind of enhanced humans, right? It's more than just transplants. It's more than it's enhanced exoskeletons, all this sort of stuff. It's going to be an interesting world in the next 50, 60, 70, 80 years.
Yeah, and after seeing this little video, and by the way, you guys check out the video portion. After seeing that little video, I got to be honest, that didn't work, but that is so creepy. I'm gonna say creepy. That you think that because this is a fingertip, it should be attached to the end of the patient's finger. And but they were actually they had electrodes to the brain and whatnot that read the rest of the article. But the fingertip was across the room, feeling the surfaces while the patient was laying in a bed, kind of with his eyes covered, feeling the sensation. So that'd be like you feeling a texture from across the room.
Yeah, very long.
That's creepy.
Weird, isn't it? It is weird. But it goes on. The story goes on to say researchers experimented with amputee Dennis Abo Sorensen of Denmark, who damaged his left hand more than a decade ago while playing with fireworks.
Right.
When are people going to learn about fireworks? Please be careful. Anyway, doctors immediately amputated the appendage after Sorensen was brought to the hospital. It must have been a pretty bad fireworks experience here. The researchers had connected Sorensen to a bionic hand that helped him to tell whether an object held in his prosthetic was soft or hard, round or square. Now the scientists wanted to see if they could improve his ability to detect more subtle characteristics like rough or smooth textures, hence the motivation behind the fingertip that we're talking about. Sensors.
You know what's after that? Then they'll have they have rough or smooth, the surfaces. Then they'll have hot and cold,
There you go. Yeah, that's good, Craig. Yeah, they just keep going and going. It's going to get real interesting. Mm-hmm. Sensors in the artificial fingertip generated electrical signals that were translated into a series of electrical spikes imitating the language of the nervous system. Wow. These spikes were then delivered to Sorensen's nerves. Wow. Sorensen could distinguish between smooth and rough surfaces 96% of the time. That's pretty remarkable, making him the first person in the world to recognize texture using a bionic device, the researchers said. The researchers have already integrated the new fingertip into a prosthetic hand. Mercia said, that's one of the researchers, they plan for patients to use this advanced bionic device in experiments before the end of 2016.
This year, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Isn't that something, guys?
I'm wondering if it's actual sensation or something that simulates. In other words, they'll have something that he gets a sensation and that means it's smooth, or they get another sensation that is, but it's not actually rough and smooth, or is it actually the feeling of rough?
They said that they were sending these electrical pulses to the brain, and you can map those pretty easily in in a person with a functioning hand, and heck, they probably even use his hand because he still does have a hand.
Mm-hmm.
They can hook up your scalp to one of those EKG machines or whatever you call them. And they can see what part of the brain is activated whenever something is smooth and whenever something is, rough. So they probably mapped his specifically so that he could then sense it the way he would with his other hand.
Okay. Well, cool.
Impressive.
All right. Well, this next story that we're doing, again, Ralph Bond is here with us for the entire 2 hours. The story to this next one. Now, I know a lot of us. I like watching the do-it-yourself channel, the DIY channel, HGTV. And doing things myself. And I've picked up a lot of things. But those of you who are into a lot of DIY, well, guess what? Wouldn't it be cool now if you can DIY your own DNA analysis?
DIY DNA.
Yeah, DNA. Well, first of all, why would you want to do that? And second of all, what are the motivations? So Ralph's going to explain this in this next story as to why you want to DIY your own DNA analysis.
Because you can, Craig.
Okay.
You see that? Let's go back to the origins of personal computing. Why would you take a motherboard? Why would you go to the store and buy your own chips? Why would you do all this? No, because you can. There are certain early adventurers that will go that way. But here's a story from TechCrunch, a story by Sarah Burr, and it says, citizen scientists, you can now DIY your own DNA analysis with Bento Lab, B-E-N-T-O Lab. So there's a great image in the show notes if you go out there and get those show notes. It says here, want to know if you have the athlete gene? Well, I can tell you already I don't. But anyway, want to know if you have the athlete gene or if you're actually related to the weirdos who claim you as a family member? Get your collection tubes ready, citizen scientists. Bento Lab's DIY DNA analysis kit is here and ready for the in-home lab. Goes on to say, normally you'd order a kit somewhere like 23andMe, spit in a tube, and mail it off for results in 6 to 8 weeks. Or Ancestry.com, by the way, guys, has a whole program for, I think it's under $100. You can essentially do the same thing, and that's a very popular one for getting your DNA. Mm-hmm. It says, however, the London-based Bento Lab claims to be the first DIY DNA lab you can use to test anywhere. It's small enough to fit in a backpack, and you can analyze DNA from saliva, hair, animal tissue. Well, wait a minute. Now, I know humans are animals, but what are they saying here? I can do my dog too? That could be kind of interesting. Small enough to fit in a backpack and can analyze DNA from saliva, hair, animal tissue, and even beer or wine. Now you've got my attention.
Well, I mean, let's face it. If I'm going to have a DNA analysis kit, I want to make sure that it's small enough to fit in my backpack.
Well, of course, and it's bound to be a party hit.
Yeah,
See, I think where they're going wrong, this would be take it to the party and terrify people with what their genetic heritage is.
Yeah,
Did you know? Anyway, it goes on. It says how it works, and there's a really cool 1, 2, 3 visualization or an image here that kind of shows the process, right? So here you go. It says you collect a sample and place it in the centrifuge in the middle of the product for DNA extraction. Then it says a PCR machine on the right-hand side then copies the genes, and a gel unit allows you to visualize the DNA. And I said, time out to myself. I said, what is a PCR? What does this refer to? I didn't know, so I looked it up. It's the thermal cycler, also known as a, PCR machine, or DNA amplifier. So a PCR machine is a DNA amplifier, also called a thermocycler. It's a laboratory apparatus most commonly used to amplify segments of DNA via the polymerase, Polymerase chain reaction. Polymerase chain reaction? I'm not sure how to pronounce it, guys. That's hence the PCR acronym. So there's a little explanation for what's going on there. Now, the type of equipment needed is usually very expensive and requires DNA experts to run the various machines, but the Bento Lab is roughly the cost of a PC at $793 US.
Wow.
Affordable enough to test a variety of products that could cost hundreds to thousands to farm out to a lab service.
I mean, this is amazing where they're taking something so sophisticated and now it's basically you can hold in the palm of your hand. Listen, Ralph, with the bottom of the hour, I want to continue this story. You listen to Ralph Hahn. This is the Computer America Show. News Test Bold Review coming up as well. Social media winner coming up too. We'll be right back.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
So a chicken walks into a bar. Oh, hi, Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Seek Thermal camera for Android. If you feed your smartphone enough carrots, can you get it to see in the dark? Probably not. But plug in a Seek Thermal micro USB connected thermal imaging camera and load its free app to start seeing heat images on your smartphone screen, side by side if you like, with visible light images. You can record video or stills, but the coolest part of seeing heat is what you get to see. Warm versus hot spots on the grill, where window or door insulation is letting you down. Warm wall spots that can signal electrical problems, critters in the yard, and more. Bottom line, the Seek Thermal Heat Imaging Camera for Android lets your smartphone see heat, which is a cool thing when you're being practical and hot when you're having fun. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Now, 33 minutes past the hour, and time is just flying by as we are on story number, I want to say 3, or maybe even 2.
No,
Story 2. Wow, not even 3. Number 2. Yeah. You're right. But yeah, so we have Ralph Bond here with us both hours on a very, very relaxed and enjoyable Friday. And we're talking about the Bento Lab. And I know I'd heard the name before. I'm going to go look it up. I hadn't heard of them, so I guess Bento is just one of those words. But yeah, so the Bento Labs, they have a do-it-yourself DNA analyzing kit that for the low price of a couple $100, you could own one of these and you could test anything you wanted. And yeah, we're just about to get into the use cases, but yeah, Ralph was going over some of the some of what's included inside because they are technical terms, because this is the real deal. I mean, this is of course to a much smaller degree and a much smaller form factor, but the actual tools one would use to analyze DNA in a lab setting, just condensed.
Yeah, that's right, Ben. Yeah, and it is hilarious. And Bento, I don't know. I'm going to offer a complete speculation. It's probably not correct. One would assume it might be the surname of one of the developers or something, but it's a very small box, and I was thinking a bento box, the little takeout Japanese.
I think that's where they got it from.
Tiny.
Because this this apparatus, this DNA testing kit, is about the size of a bento box.
There you go.
It's funny, but it's so incredibly sophisticated. I mean, the point is, this kind of equipment 10 years ago was cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and required technicians and training, and now it's a little box that you can buy for under $800.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it opens up some real entrepreneurial do-it-yourself business possibilities too. Can you see we have a farmers market pretty soon. It'll start up again every Saturday. Well, I can see somebody with a booth saying, "Hey, DNA, come on over here." Anyway,
instead of a lemonade stand, have the little kids go out.
Forget lemonade. DNA.
Let me analyze your DNA for 50 cents, or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
DNA stand, instead of the lemonade stand, have the DNA stand, and have the proud parent watching the little kid,
That would make a great comedy sketch, right? Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah, exactly.
Little Girl Scouts doing DNA. Forget cookies.
Exactly.
Anyway, so the story goes on to say, by the way, this Bento Lab is on Kickstarter, okay? So it's a Kickstarter project. Mm-hmm. And it's already doubled its crowdfunding goal with 22 days to go. Now, the story was filed on March the 30th, so it goes back to the early part of last month. The team behind it has support from the United Kingdom's Royal Academy of Engineering. Okay, now that's serious. Makerversity, I don't know who those folks are. The Imperial College Synesite. Synesite, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and UCL Advances, but the Royal Academy of Engineering, wow, that's some heavy-duty backup there. It goes on to say the lab includes, the Bento Lab kit, as well as pipettes, reagents, not quite sure what that means. Do you guys know what that means?
The reagents.
Oh, okay.
Those are chemicals that
one would need to perform the reaction. That's needed.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks, guys. Cotton swabs for the collection, and an instruction booklet, and a connected community. So there's an online community that can help you out, sort of do your own DIY thing.
Right.
Bento Lab also mentioned creating an app to connect citizen scientists and allow the sharing of research and discoveries in the future. I'm going to publish all my friends' DNA here. Well, that could be interesting. Some of the suggested experiments, this is comical. Some of the suggested experiments you can run on the Bento Lab include test a hamburger to see if it contains horse meat.
Oh, I could just see something to the fast food restaurant. You know, I had a little kid. You know, I tested your burger and there was horse meat in it.
Yeah, yeah. Identify genetically modified organisms. GMO, that's such a hot thing for a lot of people right now. It's the gluten-free of today. Pardon me. Find out if your taste buds detect bitter flavors by testing your variation of the PTC gene.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that. In other words, different people have the ability to taste certain bitter flavors, and well, can't. And that I remember when I was a kid, they actually had these little test strips that you put them on your tongue, and either you would taste it or you couldn't taste it, and that would give them the people insight as to some of your background.
Wow, wow. Yeah, that's interesting. And another one here, check if you were built for endurance by testing your variation of the athlete gene, the gene ACTN3. I don't even need to take that test. I know the answer already. Explore how blood group genotyping works. Identify poisonous and non-poisonous types of mushrooms.
That could be so handy. You're out camping, and you imagine within the night in the crickets, and you find mushrooms. So you do a little DNA test on all the mushrooms before you eat them to make sure that they're not poisonous.
Well, and beyond poison or not poison, how about, are they going to make you get weird, or are they going to be okay?
Well,
right? I mean, mushrooms kind of, that's gets into some weird territory. As my son would say, Dad, you need some shrooms. What?
Psychedelics. We advocate them here on Computer
legalize
America.
marijuana. Slow it down. Slow it down. And then this is very important. This is important for every Northwesterner. I can't speak for the rest of the country, but this will immediately get the attention of everyone, certainly in Portland. Typify the genetic code of your homemade beer. This is important. Got to know it.
Is it? I'm not sure if that's typify or typify.
Oh, I'm sorry, typify. My bad. Same difference. I was so excited. And then there's a link.
Because everyone has their own microbrew, right?
Well, pretty close to it. And there's a link in here. You can go look at this and learn about it on the Kickstarter campaign. There's a pledge of $69 to be involved with this. So pretty cool, pretty interesting. And to your question about microbrews, I believe this is correct. Oregon has more microbrews per person and more breweries statistically per person than Germany.
Wow. Really?
Let that soak in.
Wow.
Now the heritage of Oregon's beer does go back to the German immigrants, just about 3, 4, 5, 6 miles up this direction. You can just decide what direction that is Germantown area of Washington County, Oregon, where a lot of the Midwestern German families came, and they brought with them, of course, the hops and the skills, and there was a long maturation process to get to the craft beer late 70s, 80s, 90s, and on into today. So big history here on that front.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, so there you go. So you can now soon own your own DNA test. Courtesy of Ralph Bond and America.
I could just see it. You're driving down the street, the little kids, little table. Forget Kool-Aid, baby. Here, DNA. I wonder how fast the results get back. How fast they can be done. Because if it can get done pretty quick, you could actually make it a little business, right?
Yeah. Well, it could do it. Yeah, a street-sized business. Yeah.
But I think you would have to educate people on why sequencing your DNA is important. It's not just tracing your lineage or anything like that. It's also about knowing what genetically you are predisposed to. Be it any kind of cancers, diseases, alcoholism, what have you. Just knowing what's in your DNA can actually have a lot of benefits.
No, Ben, there is a serious side to it, and you're absolutely right. And I think I like what Craig was alluding to earlier, the democratization of yet another technology that prior to was absolutely out of the range of average people. Yeah. And so for under $800, it's getting it into a range that vastly opens the door of accessibility to this kind of capability. So that's a cool thing.
Very cool. All right, now I warned you that we were going to do some 3D printing, and here's this next 3D printing story, our first one for today, and this is interesting because a company called GameBody reveals how they designed and built an epic 236-piece 3D printed Millennium Falcon.
Important. This is important for Star Wars fans. and again, the epic question, well, the enduring question, why? Because you can.
Yeah.
And there's a great story, and if you have the show notes, you get to see the pictures, you've got the links, video, all this great stuff. But here's the story, and by the way, this was posted on 3Ders, so that's 3DERS, so 3Ders.org, and a story simply attributed to Kira, K-I-R-A, there's no last name, was filed on March the 17th, give you a sense of when it appeared. So she says here, I presume it's a woman, I'm not sure, a few weeks ago, 3D printing marketplace GameBody released the design files for a 1:34 scale 3D printable Millennium Falcon, one of the most detailed, intricate, and large-scale Star Wars 3D prints we've ever seen. So they've released this, so it's kind of out there. You can do this yourself too. It's just kind of cool. Merely 3D printing and assembling this 717 by 1,000 by 244. Help me, guys. They just have the letter M. That can't be meters, of course. Are they? Do they mean millimeters there in that usage?
Yeah, millimeters.
I would presume that's what they mean. I normally don't you see double M, MM? But anyway. 717 by 1,000 by 244 millimeters behemoth requires at least 3 filament spools and 3 to 4 months of intensive work. However, for the 3D designers who came up with it, an additional, ready for this, 800 hours were required to research, sketch, and create the impeccable 3D models. Recognizing that this is no ordinary feat, GameBody recently sat down with in-house 3D designers Sergey, I'm going to guess I'm pronouncing that, Malik and Alex Vorojibit to discuss their inspiration, 3D design process, and how their commitment to both the Star Wars franchise and to its fans motivated them to stop at nothing to create the most epic 3D printed Millennium Falcon ever. There's a great image in here with he's got his double monitors and the guys are working on the design. I just love this story. The very first steps in the 3D model creation were to capture the Falcon from as many angles as possible. For the exterior, Malik and Vorojibit, can't say that, I'll just say the designers, relied on screenshots from the video game, while the interior was modeled on screenshots from the film. Wow. They then turned to the internet, compiling Star Wars wiki sketches and engineering projects until they had a complete understanding of the iconic ship's layout. And there is a video there, folks, you can see.
We're watching it right now.
Good. Yeah, it's very cool, guys. As for the designers, the countless hours poured into the project proved to be entirely worth it. So much so that they are already planning their next 3D printable Star Wars-inspired vehicle or droid. And there's a quote here at the end, 2.5 months of coming to work and going home with one thought in my head, designing a model that will exceed all expectations, said Vorjobit, one of the designers. We hope our work will be appreciated. Well, it already is, buddy. In fact, we have already received a bunch of messages and positive feedback from 3D printing enthusiasts and Star Wars fans, which proves that our efforts are valued. So, I mean, what a labor of love, and it just... and they're releasing their files, so you can have at it too, which I think is just super cool.
Wow.
Like, looking at the amount of pieces, like it's not just like okay, 3D print the body and then 3D print the details. Like it's like it reminds me of like those really crazy in-depth models that you see people putting together, and it takes them weeks upon weeks to put them together. Like that is that level.
Oh yeah, it's what 236 pieces, right? So I mean, it's pretty serious.
Wow.
But very cool. I would say, just looking at it and watching the video, I mean, if they release the files for every one of those pieces, you're gonna have probably the most detailed Millennium Falcon of anyone you know.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It's very detailed.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Very cool. All right, well, let's move on. This next story and we move all the way down to South Korea. Evidently, a South Korean team makes a wall-climbing flying rescue drone. We've talked about many applications for drones, other than just delivery drones and drones that are used for photography and streaming video.
Right.
which are really two amazing technologies. But using drones in workplaces where it would be dangerous to have humans, like a paint spraying drone, so
Right.
high places and spray paint sides of buildings and barns. We were talking about these. Well, here's another one where it's a wall climbing flying rescue drone.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, Craig. This is it's another great technology story. I just love this. It's from Popular Science.
Mhm.
The author is Kelsey Atherton.
Mhm.
And as Craig said before, the title is South Korean Team Makes Wall Climbing Flying Rescue Drones. So it's a neat twist on the drone idea here. And the link, of course, is in the show notes. Some great pictures, some great photographs. And the video is also well worth watching, by the way, folks. So here's the story. It says South Korea's robots are future-proof or, well, fireproof. But as rescue robots, that's definitely part of their future. So fire, drones to help firefighters, right? That's the gist of what's going on here. A rescue drone by the Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology is a flying, wall-climbing, fireproof building inspection machine. So fireproofing a drone, that's another neat twist to this, right? It's Spider-Man, essentially, with more batteries and fewer hang-ups about Mary Jane. A little tongue-in-cheek there. Named CAROS, C-A-R-O-S, for climbing. Of course, it's an acronym. You can't be in technology without acronyms.
Right.
Climbing Aerial Robot System, CAROS, looks like a normal quadcopter. It flies to and fro like a quadcopter, then turns perpendicular to the ground and attaches itself to surfaces it needs to inspect. This is the cool part. If it falls, it can catch itself and either fly back to the place or land somewhere safely. It has an autonomous navigation system that takes information from its sensors and lets it map 3D environments like building walls or the inside of rooms. Love it. Building inspection is useful, but it's not the most exciting thing a drone can do. Fortunately, for our short attention spans that crave excitement, CAROS is also going to be a fireproof rescue worker. This is really neat. So the Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology is the KAIST, K-A-I-S-T, that's the bunch doing this. This technology can also be used to assess the situation in a fire disaster. Now, that's the critical part, right? You come to a fire scene, they have robots nowadays, but those are ground-based robots with treads and so forth, and they have limitations on where they can go, right, guys? And how fast they can go. So the next natural thing is, can we take a drone, can we modify it for a fire inspection situation to deal with the kind of terrible environment of a fire? And so on. So it goes on with the story. It says, previously, a mobile robot equipped with a water hose and throwing type mobile robots were developed to extinguish the fire, but it had a disadvantage when entering and moving through narrow spaces, right? The CAROS technology can be used as a surveillance robot for use in fires or disasters, as it can pass through narrow indoor environments by changing its mode from wall climbing to flying and vice versa, depending on the situation. Think about an earthquake situation, guys. Buildings collapse, but there might be survivors. You can pass through those environments with this kind of a drone. That's really cool. If CAROS is equipped with a thermal camera, it can detect and track humans through thermal images. In addition, it can transmit environment information by wireless communication. We've seen this fireproof variant before, and I, at least, meaning the author, I at least will never tire of watching drones emerge from flames unscathed. For people trapped in burning buildings, the aesthetic appeal of a cool drone is way less important than the rescue it heralds, which it will do, because it can climb walls, fly, and survive a fire. Now, if I'm stuck in a building in a fire, I would not only be happy to see the drone for personal rescue reasons, but I'd be enthralled by the technology. So I'd like both ends of it. It might make me want to go on living.
South Korea is doing a lot of great stuff with tech. I mean, they're such a tech-forward-thinking
yes.
country over there. But yeah, this has so many applications that I guess up until a couple of years ago, we were still using people and dogs, and a couple fire kids if we had them. But getting into those tight places, it was just people and dogs.
Yeah, yeah, and Ben and Craig, look at that last image in the show notes there. When I saw that, it reminded me of those insects, water skidders or whatever, those
Yeah.
insects with the long legs that just sort of skitter across the water surface, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it look like that? It's kind of freaky, but I just think it's so incredibly cool that we're seeing drones now being reimagined for different purposes, and this wall climbing factor is really, really something. I think this is very smart, very exciting.
For sure.
Okay. All right. Now, this next story I think kind of ties in because we're talking about drones, and I'll go ahead and do this. I don't know how many of you have seen these clocks that have retinal persistence in them. So
Yeah.
they move very quickly. They actually can spell out words. It's just one set of LEDs, but the position of the projector, which is very, very small, and it moves back and forth, or it spins, you can actually print out messages.
Right.
Evidently, someone's taken this technology and applied it to drones, and evidently Amazon plans these drones with talking propellers. So, what's the story with this?
This is pretty cool too. I mean, what I love about the stories that I'm so fortunate to find is they're such great out there technology, innovative out there, bionic finger, do-it-yourself DNA kit, wall climbing drone, and now here we have talking propellers. You gotta love this, guys. I just the creativity of our technical people around the globe just is awe-inspiring. So with that said, this is a story from the United Kingdom, the very famous The Register, and the author is Simon Sharwood. And again, as Craig said, the title is Amazon Plans Drones with Talking Propellers. There's more to it than just the talking propellers, by the way, guys. And there's an image here of a patent filing. It says Amazon has filed a fascinating patent for automated aerial vehicle technology. The invention has two aspects. The first of which is the use of multiple propellers rotating in different directions to reduce noise. So that's part of it, right?
Right.
Amazon imagines one propeller rotating in one direction to provide lift, while the second propeller may cause lift of the AAV, the patent suggests. It may also be operable to produce sound that cancels noise generated by the first propeller.
Yeah, that technology is called destructive interference, and what happens?
Yeah.
It cancels, and Bose has their headsets uses a similar thing where it makes a counter wave that's directly the mirror image of the actual sound wave, and when it hits the counter wave, it cancels it out. So it makes
Wow.
so
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's very cool. Goes on to say, in some cases, an audio sensor, for example, a microphone, located near the first propeller may detect the noise generated by the first propeller. A controller may be in direct or indirect communication with the audio sensor. The controller may be configured to receive a signal representing the noise detected by the audio sensor. The controller may also be in direct or indirect communication with the second propeller and may cause the second propeller to produce anti-noise sound that cancels the noise generated by the first propeller.
Now we're totally confused. Okay. Okay.
Just noise canceling propellers. How about that? And then there's a rather lengthy explanation of all this sort of thing here. And I think you can go through the show notes, folks, and check this out. But one of the things they say is it's possible also to perhaps generate a kind of a voice like "watch out." So it's more than just noise canceling. It's possible to make it through this technology to have it appear to say things like "watch out" or "incoming" or something like that. And so yeah, think about it. If you're going to deliver packages, Amazon, with noise canceling propellers that makes the net total very quiet, you better have something. If I'm out working in my yard and this thing's coming to deliver my latest goober that I've ordered from Amazon, it better say watch out, incoming package, but otherwise it might bonk me on the head or something, right? Or scare the what out of me. Anyway, very interesting. You can read about this in the in the right up here. And also, to your point, Craig, like those clocks you were alluding to, it
Right.
could spell out messages too using the whirling propellers and so forth. So it's really a fun story and really interesting. And it ends with a great line, but propellers simulating speech, that's a weird one. So it's a pretty cool story.
But it's possible, absolutely. All right, listen, we're coming to the top of the hour. Some of the stories that Ralph and Ben and I are going to be doing, we're going to be talking about, for those of you who love Vegas, evidently Mars World.
Yeah.
Coming to Las Vegas is going to. It's actually a Mars simulation to come to Las Vegas, and we'll be talking about that story. Also, something called holoportation, a new type of 3D capturing technology.
Oh, we actually did a little bit about that a little while ago, but yeah,
Cool.
definitely worth talking about again.
Mhm.
Holoportation, where essentially you put yourself in a room virtually,
Yeah.
like you're just standing right next to someone.
And
Very
we'll-
very
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Also, NASA. NASA is sending a 3D printer to space that you can use. We'll be talking about that story as more. Also, with 3D printers, how about a giant multi-headed 3D printer that can create massive objects in one pass? One pass, not sitting there going back and forth, but one pass.
Out
That-
like a boat. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. And now that's amazing to do it in one pass. Good grief. So those stories. Also, we're going to be talking about desktop virtualization, an application developed for the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive that lets you use your computer in VR. Wow. Okay. And also something called Fever Prints. Fever Prints. What is that? To better understand your body temperature. It's a new app. These stories and more coming up. Of course, we'll have our social media winner of the week, where we're giving away the Logitech MX2 MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse valued at $80. Some lucky person is going to be winning that. That's all coming up in the second hour of the Computer America
Oh,
Show.
and are we going to be talking about the new prize as well?
Yes, we'll also talk a little bit about the new prize from Logitech for next week. Yes, we'll do that too. All right, so we're going to take a short momentary break, and then we continue with Hour 2 of the Computer America Show, happening right here. Please stay with us.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host Ben.
And we continue on with Ralph Bond. He is with Autodesk, and he is with us for both hours, talking about some of the great stories that he has picked out. Again, 347-884-8881 will get you on and get you through. Head over to ComputerAmerica.com, click on the cheat notes. You can follow along with us, and of course watch our live video stream again at ComputerAmerica.com, the internet home of our radio broadcast. So we continue on with these stories, and I want to, I guess the big event, this next one is story 6, Mars World, coming to Vegas. Okay? I guess they didn't feel that Las Vegas was out of this world enough as it is, so Mars is the picture. Okay, why are they doing this, and what is it all about?
You know what, Craig and Ben? Probably if you walk a mile on either side of the Vegas Strip,
You think
you
you're
might as well be in Mars, right?
Yeah,
The only difference is you've got oxygen to breathe. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, this is just of course. When I saw this headline in Techno Buffalo is where it comes from, guys, and a story by Brandon Russell. He's a great writer, by the way. I went, what, Mars World? Okay, wait a minute. This is kind of cool. What's this all about? And so it says Mars World simulation to bring Mars to Las Vegas. Again, from Techno Buffalo. In the show notes, there's some great artist renderings of what this environment is going to be like and the little ride you can take and all that. But let me give you the story here. So it says, visit Vegas for the buffets. Now this is, Brandon, you understand me. That's my primary motivation for going to Vegas. If I have to go there for a trade show or something like that, it was the buffets, baby. Oh, I love that stuff.
They were nice.
Yeah.
And no supervision. My wife is not there. She doesn't know that I'm, loading up on red meat and things like this. It's all, just me on the plate. Anyway, now you know where I'm at when it comes to Vegas, because I'm not a gambler, except with my diet when I go to Vegas. Okay, so it says, visit Vegas for the buffet, stay for a new attraction simulating the surface of Mars. In what sounds like a baby step toward Total Recall, the movie, of course, folks, a consortium of business executives plan to erect an immersive experience called Mars World, close to the Las Vegas Strip. If we can't bring humans to Mars en masse, might as well bring the planet to us. The attraction will apparently be built between the I-15 freeway and Las Vegas Boulevard, giving customers a taste of a real-life Mars colony. I salute the idea. I think it's going to either be great or crash terribly on execution. We'll find out. That includes Mars Walks, a tram ride around the simulated city, and even opportunities to stay overnight in so-called rough habitats. Now, I'm not going to Vegas to be in a rough habitat, but maybe that's for some people. Mars World will essentially be a theme park specifically dedicated to the mysterious red planet, which NASA scientists hope to set foot on by the 2030s. We've already sent satellites and robots to the scorched Martian planet, but shuttling people there will be a much more difficult endeavor. Las Vegas gets about 40 million visitors every year, including influxes during special conventions like CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. Mars World is hoping to capitalize on mystified tourists with an attraction that's unlike anything they've seen. And it goes on to say, according to John Spencer, chief designer of the project, he's hoping to cater the experience to audiences who would normally visit Burning Man, the popular desert festival that takes place at Black Rock City in Nevada. I don't quite get that connection. I know what Burning Man is. That's a pretty freaky, deaky, weird thing. I think this has a much wider, broader, general population appeal. It's very Disney-esque, right? It's like Future World or Futureland or whatever.
Exactly. And, because right now, some of the only alternatives is that you can go to Mars, but it's got a one-way ticket. I still, I shake my head when I think about that. Ben's like, "Yeah, man, I'll go."
I'm sorry. Are we really going to miss, let's say, 40 people a year? Like, really? There's 7.3 billion people. We can't spare 40.
Yeah, I know, but it's like life imprisonment. You can't ever come back. I just.
It's not life imprisonment. It's life explorationment.
Yeah, you have to have the right.
Like
I don't have that.
Explorationment. I like it.
Exactly.
That's like Ricky on Trailer Park Boys, that ridiculous Canadian series. He makes up great words. He always has. He from ignorance, bless his heart. He just butchers words and kind of fabricates and makes words. So explorationment. That sounds very Ricky.
That series is on my Netflix and it's always front page. It's like, Ben, you would really like this, and I'm like, I don't feel like getting into that.
It's very rough. It's very crude, but there's something kind of it's like an astonishing thing to watch unfold.
I might have to one day. I mean, I have that and BoJack Horseman. I need to watch.
Anyway, to finish up the story, the last line says Mars World is expected to launch in 2021. Whoa, that's a ways off. And offer guests free admission when it opens. What the heck is going to take so long? 2021, guys? Well.
They're building a planet. Who knows?
I think they're going to import all their sand from Mars.
That would explain it.
Exactly.
No, but see, here's how I think this whole thing went down. They're like, all right, folks, we are an economy built on tourism. We have to get people to come to Vegas, but here's the problem. We are running out of water faster than we can say we're running out of water, folks. And we can't just offer big, lush green golf courses anymore. So you are our committee to create new attractions to Vegas. What do you recommend? And I feel like someone said, let's see, no water, lots of sand, lots of arid, useless land. Let's make a Mars. Let's just recreate Mars right here. Why not?
Absolutely.
It'll attract people.
Exactly.
And
It's-
cost no water.
And in the imagery that's in the article, guys, in the show notes, they show everyone all suited up, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, are you going to have every guest suit up? How do you deal with the sanitation of that? How do you deal with the immense heat of that? Are these air-conditioned suits? I mean, maybe this was an April Fool's story. I should have checked the date. I don't know, but it's kind of a fun concept to think about.
3:30, so not April Fool's
Not-
Day.
not
So
April
we're,
Fool's.
so we're going to
Close
count it
to
as
it.
not April Fool's.
Close to it.
Hey, listen, Ralph. I want to skip on down to story 9 because this
Okay.
is and again, 3D printing.
Yeah.
Everything is on such a small scale, and you hear the people are developing these really large scale 3D printers. But even then, if they want to print an item, it takes a long time because you're building it like in little tiny layers. Here's a story where they're having a giant multi-headed 3D printer that can create a massive object and do it in one pass. One pass.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I understand Autodesk is involved with this, so why don't you tell us a little bit about this?
Yes, shameless Autodesk connection and plug warning.
Alright.
But it is a great story, right?
Yeah.
See, so I could do the whole show on Autodesk stuff. I don't. I just picked the very best for you. Okay, so this is from Gizmodo, a story by Andrew Lizweski. Oh my goodness. Sorry, Andrew. Anyway, giant multi-headed 3D printer can create massive objects in one pass, as Craig was saying. A great photograph here in the show notes, and of course a link to a video as well. So the story is the trade-off of an affordable 3D printer is that they're usually small and can only produce small objects, right? To make something big, you have to break it down into smaller parts first. But Autodesk has come up with a better approach, a 3D printer with multiple heads that all can work together to churn out massive creations, called Project Escher, which of course again is an Autodesk project. The hardware is more like an assembly line of 3D printers than a single machine. Instead of passing an object from one print head to the next when its job is done, the print heads can intelligently work together to speed up the creation of an object, or each head can work on different areas so that larger prototypes can be produced in one run. Yeah. And again, there's a video here you can check out. Project Escher's print heads are modular too and can be swapped out for different purposes. So while 4 of them are busy printing away, the 5th could be swapped for a milling head that removes support structures or other 3D printed components that are only necessary for the printing process. One of the print heads could even be swapped for a robot hand that repositions a part or automatically removes it from the machine once the printing process is complete. For now, the project appears to be an Autodesk research initiative more than anything, but it's a brilliant approach to 3D printing that takes advantage of the components in more affordable machines while overcoming the size limitations that often plague cheaper hardware. So there you go.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and the video's a hoot and a half to watch.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well let's continue down to story 10.
All righty.
Which is a virtual desktop in an application developed for the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive that lets you use your computer in virtual reality. This is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is, and it's a great example of why would anyone want to do this? Because you can. And you're going to get the most out of your Oculus Rift, buddy. No, it's really, it just caught my eye because I thought, well, okay, this is kind of curious. From steampowered.com, Virtual Desktop is an application developed for the Oculus Rift and HTC HTC Vive, pardon me, that lets you use your computer in VR. And you need to really see the images, folks. That's the important thing of the show notes. So you can kind of imagine having your Oculus Rift goggles on, and you're doing computer work, and you're seeing it in this 3D kind of thing. Now, these flat images can't do it justice, but it just says Virtual Desktop is an application developed for the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive that lets you use your own computer in virtual reality mode. You can browse the web, watch movies, Netflix, or even play games on a giant virtual screen. So, hey, it's a cute little idea for taking more advantage of your VR goggles.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta be honest, just watching the video, because if you go to Steam, there is a video associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool as heck. I mean, they have this one setting right here, that they're showing off, where he has a slider bar, and it indicates the desktop will be 100% 100% that you're used to, and then he blows it like all the way up to 300%, and just watching the video, you can tell that like he's like looking up at this massive screen now that he has just because of a slider bar.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
It is very cool.
And I think, did they mention if it was free or?
I don't know, Ben. You poke around on that site. It's it's a little applet they sell. Yeah.
$15. So yeah, and of course, done through Steam. So I would think that if I dropped $800 to $900 on a virtual reality headset, I would be willing to drop $15
I absolutely
on this.
would. What I don't know is how long would I want to have the goggles. Now, for entertainment purposes, laying back in my lazy boy couch in my home theater with the goggles on and an adult beverage, yes, I could see that. I don't know about day-to-day working. If I'd want to have the goggles on all the time, but there certainly could be some great applications for business, show and tell, other things of this nature, and of course we must realize there's an application in that dark underbelly of culture that drove the VHS revolution. I say no more. Nothing more needs to be said.
You say underbelly, but I think it's when it's that ubiquitous, you just kind of say, it's going to happen.
Well, it depends. You're either under the belly or over it. Oh, sorry. Step back from the bad humor. Step it on back. I couldn't resist. Ben, you opened that door. I walked right through it.
No apologies. No apologies.
All right. Well, Ralph and Bond is. If you just joined us, we're doing all these really cool stories that he's picked out for us, and we're going to do that now. I think what we're going to do here is move to story 11 because we kind of tease this one. Now this, I know what a fingerprint is, but this is a fever print, and the app is called Fever Prints, and it's to better understand, I think, your body's temperature. I believe is how it works.
Yeah, and the name Fever Prints right away got my attention, and of course another applet for your smartphones, and of course that's always appealing. It's a story from Engadget, a story by Timothy Seppala, Seppala is his name, and the link and the picture, of course, in the show notes, and it says the Apple Health app will autonomously or what's that? Autonomously? Oh, I'm sorry. Will autonomously track your steps and other wellness data, sure, but Boston Children's Hospital wants its iOS app called Fever Prints to help you keep an eye on something else throughout the day, your temperature. Now, I suppose there's probably people with certain maladies or conditions where temperature is something you need to be really very careful with. I don't know. I'm just wondering why the Boston Children's Hospital, I guess high temperatures in little kids and babies, of course, I know is a very serious issue, right?
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was the motivation. But anyway, what Fever Prints hopes to achieve by using vast amounts of anonymous data, is gaining a better idea of what the normal range of temperatures are for humans at different times through the day.
It's not 98.6, evidently.
I guess not. And it is kind of intriguing to think about. It's sort of like I became obsessed with monitoring my weight after my heart surgery and stuff, and it was fascinating to see how it would fluctuate several pounds sometimes over a 24, 48-hour period of time. And
they're not static things, they don't. you don't weigh 150 pounds and you just stay at 150 pounds. You go up a couple pounds and down. I mean, it's the mean average. You know, when you get on the scale in the morning, it's a snapshot. It's like blood pressure. You take a blood.
Right.
You take your blood. It's a snapshot. Of a moment in time. To get a really good handle on your health, you need something that's going to give you, many measurements throughout the course of the day.
Well, and that's also why they say you're supposed to weigh yourself at the same time every day.
Right.
For the exact reason.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ben. You're right. I learned that trick too. Absolutely right. So this research, this goal to have thousands and thousands of people providing temperature reading data at different ages and so forth over time, the article goes on to say this could eventually lead to better care and diagnosis of fevers. Simply judging your readings against the standard 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit and calling it good doesn't quite cut it when the temperature isn't the baseline for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. There's a quote here from the researcher Jared Hawkins. He says, "We want to help create a better understanding of the normal temperature variations throughout the day to learn to use fever as a tool to improve medical diagnosis and to evaluate the effect of fever medications or symptoms and disease course." Fever medications, right? So this is very interesting. Now we get a better idea of what their motivation is. And it goes on to say, but the app won't do everything for you. You still have to log your temperature multiple times per day, but Fever Prints will remind you to do so and will anonymize. I can't say that word.
Anonymize.
Thank you. Anonymize. Make anonymous your data. Goes on to say, by collecting enough temperature data, the team says that defining unique patterns of temperature could aid in diagnosing infections or seeing how effective that gross syrup you just choked down was. Talking about old school medicine. Yeah. Now it says, want to get started? Download the app and grab a thermometer. Some things still need to be done the old-fashioned way. So you can get this app and try it out if you're interested. So go and check out the show notes, get that link, and it'll point you to where you can get the app. So it's kind of fun. I don't know, it's sort of interesting. I like the idea of kind of a crowdsourcing mass way of gathering data and then helping these researchers look at average temperature fluctuations for people.
Yeah. Now, this next story, story 12, I find extremely interesting because I know, for example, when Ben was at this Consumer Electronics Show, he used Uber a lot, and also there's another ride service called Lyft. Those are the two really big ones. And wouldn't it be cool if you could figure out a way to compare the two services? In other words,
right,
which costs for the ride, and also maybe get an idea of how long it's going to get them to arrive where you are. How much longer you have to wait. Do you have to wait longer for Lyft? Do you have to wait longer for Uber? Well, it turns out, evidently, there's a website that you've discovered, Ralph, that will actually compare Uber and Lyft prices in real time.
Yeah.
I find this really interesting.
You're right. This is really cool. A story in BGR is the outlet, a story by Yanni Heisler. And the title of it is, Need a Ride? Clever website compares Uber and Lyft prices in real time. So the show notes have a great image here from the screen and so forth. And the story says, there's no question that both Lyft and Uber completely changed the way we travel. Not only have both services made travel much cheaper, they're also made it much more efficient. What does it say here? It's a weird sentence. They made it a more efficient process. I'll just rephrase it. Now, on the surface, one might think that Lyft and Uber are practically the same, effectively the tech version of Coke and Pepsi. That's going to get Coke and Pepsi aficionados all in a dither. There's a tremendous difference between Pepsi and Coke. What are you saying? They might get hate mail from soda pop people. But anyway, and while pricing between the two competing services is often similar, there are certainly times when one offers a much cheaper ride than the other service. There may be instances, for example, when Uber is subject to surge pricing and Lyft is not, and vice versa. While one can easily fire up both apps and continuously check which one offers the lowest rate, so like separately fire up the apps, right, for each service, there's a website that will gladly do all the heavy lifting for you. The site is called Fare, travelestimate.com. As much as the name implies, it will give you accurate pricing for both Lyft and Uber. With that information in tow, users can select which option is cheapest and fire up the corresponding app. All users need to do is enter their starting address and destination, and the site will provide you with the price and travel estimates, travel time estimates, for UberX, Uber Pool, Uber XL, Lyft, Lyft Line, and Lyft Plus. I didn't even know there were all these variations, guys. Did you?
Yeah. One of them is like for a deluxe car.
Oh,
luxury.
I see.
So there are different options, right?
Gotcha. Well, that I learned something from this story right off the top there. I gave the site, the author says, I gave the site a few test runs, and it seems to be quite accurate. The only glitch is that the site was curiously unable to deliver Uber Pool estimates, but the concept is great. Now, I would presume they must make their money off of advertising or something that comes along for the ride, no pun intended, because how else could they benefit or make this a worthwhile proposition for them? But nonetheless, what a great tool for particularly like my son, my son just bought a used car, but prior to that he spent the last 3 years using Uber and Go-To-Car and all these things, and this would have been a fantastic tool for him.
Yeah, could you have, I know, Ben, when you were out in Vegas, would you have used something like this? I mean, to find the best rate?
I don't think I would have. I'll be honest, other than the fact that I was getting free rides left and right, thanks to Lyft, and they have all those promotions, which are great. But the cost really is negligible on off-peak hours. Admittedly, if you're trying to get a ride, Saturday night at 8 p.m., you're probably going to be charged 2 or 3 times what just kind of surge pricing, as they called it. But if you're 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, blah blah blah, honestly, I think either one, the pricing would have been similar, and you're just kind of flipping through either one, just trying to find which one is closer to you. So the range thing is nice. Price wise, I mean, I think Uber and Lyft are so darn close. I don't think there's really a point to that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
Just personally, both services, to me, both services are already so good that something like this seems kind of redundant.
Yeah, it could be, unless you're maybe a real downtown urban, like the example of Chicago person, and you're really heavily dependent on it or something. It might be a convenience, but nonetheless, an interesting idea.
Right.
All right. Let's go to the next story here, and we kind of hinted about it. Holoportation, story 7.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about this. What is holoportation?
You guys can probably tell me more about it than I can, because I just kind of discovered this story and just loved the imagery and loved the video. Great video, by the way. Microsoft Research is the source for this story. It was published on the 25th of March, to give you the time frame for this. And as it says here, just super cool video. Holoportation is a new type of 3D capture technology that allows high-quality 3D models of people to be reconstructed, compressed, and transmitted anywhere in the world in real time. Wow. And I know you guys have talked about this before, but it sure was new to me, and I thought this is pretty darn cool. Great image. Shows a couple of fellas here, each wearing the what does Microsoft call their goggles?
The
HoloLens. HoloLens. Yeah, that's right. So that's what they're wearing, I presume. So it says here, holoportation is a new type of 3D capture technology that allows high-quality 3D models of people to be reconstructed, compressed, and transmitted anywhere in the world in real time when combined with mixed reality displays such as HoloLens. This technology allows users to see and interact with remote participants in 3D as if they were actually present in their physical space. Wow, pretty cool. Communicating and interacting with remote users becomes as natural as face-to-face communication. So you've got a link here in our show notes to the project web page and the team web page, and also, of course, you can go and see that YouTube video, which I found to be really, really pretty cool.
Wow. And they call it... Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know we started doing the story, I know, a little while back, and this is just an update to that.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't think there's really that much update to it, but just just the idea of having someone in the room with you without physically being in the room with you. I mean, the video itself, Rob. I don't know if you got a chance to see the video, but I think one of the researchers actually showed how he would use it with his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And his daughter could kind of interact with him and show him stuff and essentially be in the room with someone who is clearly not in the same room with him, but still get the same the same kind of experience. Like, admittedly, you can't reach out and touch them, but you can kind of manipulate what both of you are seeing. You might as well be in the same room.
Yeah, and you know what, Ben? One of the thoughts I had after reading this story and seeing the video and looking at the pictures and all this good stuff, imagine a scenario like this. So what if you had actors in different parts of the world or wherever, and they could come together in this virtual environment, if you want to call it that, and do plays and do things. So you could have talent from, or you could have people just for fun. Here in Portland, one of the biggest, most popular things in the summer, in the parks, they have this group that reenacts episodes of Star Trek as plays. So they have actors, and they go right through an entire episode. I kid you not. But imagine if you could virtually reproduce that kind of thing with characters unlimited or unrestricted by where they physically are, to come together in this kind of environment using this technology to role play and to give out plays and then make it possible for people to watch. That struck me as a really interesting possible application for this.
Right, and of course the true applications are probably going to start with something as simple as conferences and conferencing people,
right.
And that's going to be the very obvious one. But then there's also the personal side of it. What if you want to sit in a room with your friends and watch a football game together, and you could look over to your left and your right, and someone who's in Australia and someone who's in China can both see you, and you're sitting there in your home in the U.S.
Yeah, it definitely would be. The only thing about business, not your last point wasn't business, that was more personal, but for a business conference purpose, the one thing that I've experienced in my life when I was with Intel Corporation and now Autodesk is a lot of times when you'd have these telepresence meetings, this sort of thing, it would take 10 to 15 minutes to work out all the technical problems to make it work before the meeting ever even started. So, I mean, I'm not poo-pooing the whole idea, I just for business purpose, I think we better go down that entertainment, personal communications path. Let's go there first.
All right, and we're going to take another break, and we'll continue on. This is the Computer America Show, our social media winner of the week coming up, too. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Why did the raccoon cross the road? I don't know. Must have been suicidal. Hi, Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, Pabco Quiet Rock. This is about hearing through walls, which isn't fun if you're next to a TV room, or a bedroom, or a bathroom. Now, there are new kinds of walls that can help reduce that noise, which is a challenge if you think about it, because a wall is really a huge diaphragm. Pabco sent a sample of Quiet Rock ES gypsum, that's a formal term for sheetrock or drywall, with a clever way to decouple sound right inside the board. It's a sandwich of special recipe gypsum with a rubbery viscoelastic polymer layer in the middle. The sound pickup from one side of the wall gets mechanically decoupled from passing through to the other side. Bottom line, Quiet Rock ES can help squelch those noises so nothing annoys us. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour here in the last hour of the show on a Friday. And, something very special happens when that happens, and that's we give away a great prize from our friends over at Logitech. Because, we kind of recommend them behind the scenes. They have a lot of great products that just work. Like, they've really figured out plug and play. And they work very, very well. And one of our, and of course, speaking of just works, their mouse that we're about to give away, the MX Anywhere 2 mouse, is exactly, yep, and we see the drumsticks there, Ralph. He's ready to go. He's raring. He wants to play the drums.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the MX Anywhere 2 mouse, the dark field technology, works anywhere. Like if you're a traveler and you have a lot of different services and you don't want to, rely on your pant leg the entire time, Logitech has you covered with that mouse. So this is the last time we're actually going to be giving one of those away. And so, Craig, please.
All right. Well, let's do it. The winner for the social media winner for the week is.
Look at him go.
Janin Cheskis. Janin Cheskis, congratulations. Now, Janan listens to, I don't know if it's Janan or Janan. So I might have the accent on the wrong syllable, but it's a proper name. There's really no way to know. I'll just go with Janan Cheskis. Listens to us in Riverwoods, Illinois. Okay, and Janan wins the Logitech MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse. With its dark field technology, you can pair up to 3 computers and switch between them with the touch of a button thanks to its easy switch technology. It's valued at $80, and congratulations to you, Janan. You are this week's social media winner. So congratulations to you. I don't know if you wanted to take a moment and talk about the new prize that, or go to our website.
Absolutely, because we'll be updating our website to reflect this, but we have a new prize from Logitech because it's good, just to change things up. We don't want to give away the same stuff over and over and over again. Yeah. So, and Craig, I believe you have the proper name so people can take a look at it?
Yep, and again, we'll have it up on our website the next day or so. But the next one, it's another mouse from Logitech. This is their Bluetooth mouse. It's the M535. It's brand new. They've just introduced it, and it works with Windows, Mac, Chrome OS, and Android devices. Okay, it's a Bluetooth mouse that gives you the freedom to create anytime and anywhere on the computer you choose, all in comfort. And again, it connects to virtually any Bluetooth wireless device. It's compact. It's mobile design. It's got a curved shape with rubber grip, smart control, and easy navigation. Again, it's a very cool mouse. This particular one sells for $40, and again, it's a brand new mouse from Logitech, and so we're kind of introducing it to you.
And it has, according to the spec sheet here, it looks like it has about a 10-month battery life.
Yeah. Oh, this the 10-month battery life. That is very, very nice. Okay, it they really take advantage. It uses of the technology that Logitech is so famous for. You don't plug in the set of batteries. The next week you have to put in a new one. Batteries and the especially in the later mice from Logitech just last for a very long time. 10 months for this one. And again, it works with virtually any Bluetooth device, the M535. That's going to be our prize for next week. Head over to computeramerica.com, get your entry in. It's right there under our Interact pull-down menu, and it says Social Media Contest, and you can get yourself registered there as well. Okay, Ralph Bond continues on with us here on the show, and we're doing these really cool things that Ralph finds for us. Again, you can go to computeramerica.com. We have our cheat notes. The link is right there when you click on Ralph's picture at computeramerica.com, and you can follow along for yourself. This, we love things. We love space. Obviously, there's a big attraction for space, and whether it be science fiction or science fact, especially when it's become science fact, we tend to romanticize space, and space can be a very hostile environment. It is not a friendly place to be, but it's out there, and anyway we can interact with it.
Let's put it this way: there's more space than there is stuff. So
yeah, there's a lot of space.
So realizing how to utilize space is very, very important.
So NASA said, hey, what if we took a 3D printer and put it out into space and let anybody give them the ability to use it so they could print stuff, 3D print stuff in space, and then you could brag. You have brag and say, I made this in space, I think it's a very cool idea. It's a story from TechCrunch. Emily Candarelli is her name.
Oh, I'm glad you took a shot at it.
So tell us the story, Ralph.
Yeah. So if you have the show notes, you can see some of the images and so forth. It's pretty cool. And by the way, you'll see in the picture on the show notes, Made in Space is the outfit that's collaborating with NASA. And I was very lucky, Craig, in our AIM exchange here, I sent you a link to a video about a year ago at the Real 2015 conference. I interviewed the folks from Made in Space, and it was absolutely fascinating, all the things that they're able to do working in collaboration with NASA. But with that said, let's get into the story. It says NASA is preparing to send its first commercial manufacturing facility to the International Space Station. Now, that's actually already happened because this story appeared on March 19, and if I recall right, the launch has already taken place. But anyway, the 3D printing company, Made in Space, those are the folks that I had a chance to interview a year ago, has partnered with NASA to send their additive manufacturing facility, of course it's an acronym, AMF, to the space station on a launch scheduled to take place next Tuesday. And again, the story appeared on March 19th, so it's already up there. Right. Users on Earth can pay to use AMF, the printer, a 3D printer specially designed to operate in a microgravity environment to print products on the space station. Mm-hmm. Now, once it arrives, Made in Space will be able to command AMF remotely from their headquarters in the NASA Ames Research Park. Isn't that something to think about, remote controlling it from? That's just great. Spencer Pittman, head of product strategy at Made in Space, told TechCrunch that the company has already secured 20 paying customers for the AMF. Their customers will include high schools that are hosting space-related design challenges. What a great application. Universities that will print medical research components, you gotta love that, and companies that will print commercial parts for satellites and other spacecraft. And Pittman, the fellow that he interviewed, says, quote, "We will even be printing a 3D printable exercise device for Autodesk." Oh, shameless plug. And wrenches for Lowe's. Isn't that something? Pittman said. The AMF is scheduled to launch, again, it's already done on the Cygnus cargo ship on Tuesday, March 22, so of course it's already up there now. But I just thought this was an intriguing idea. Again, there is a fee involved. I don't know what the fee is, but it's possible for anyone here on Earth, in theory, to have something printed up there in space. And guys, I'm going to guess there's probably some environmental mental or technical reason why printing in a near zero gravity situation would be advantageous or change things? I know that in medicine and testing chemicals and all these kinds of things, the zero gravity or weightlessness environment is advantageous to do things you can't do on Earth. But I'm wondering, when it comes to 3D printing, what would be, I didn't say in the article, and I'm curious, speculating, what would be the advantage of 3D printing in that kind of environment as opposed to here on Earth? So any thoughts or speculation would be great.
Well, obviously, the lack of gravity, allows you to print things in a way that you may not be able to do in a gravity, when in gravity, and the material has to act differently.
Well, I think like the head would be different, because if you look at a 3D printing head nowadays, it kind of squirts out this little kind of like spaghetti strand kind of looking thing. Right. And then as time goes on and as you add layers with gravity, they kind of compress and compress and compress. You would get like zero compression when you 3D print things in space. So I don't know.
Yeah, that would be the question I would ask. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, again, it's something to think about. Having Ralph points out, there must be some, look, they're talking about medical. There are many things out there that it's just so much less expensive to create in a gravity-free environment than on Earth. And,
right.
Many of them, and I'm sure there's a lot of. The article doesn't go into that, but I'm sure that there's obviously a need for it. Okay. Now, this next story, again, we were talking about the Logitech mouse and having really crazy, really great battery life. Evidently, this next story, 15, Acer is introducing a Chromebook. That's their Chromebook 14. It's made of aluminum, or aluminium if you're over the pond. And according to this, it offers crazy long battery life.
Yeah, pretty cool. So, just before we go to this, though, one last thought about the last story about putting a 3D printer in outer space, right, would be maybe there is no advantage. Maybe it's just because you can do it and it's cool to say I printed something in outer space. Maybe that's it. I'm sure somebody technical could, from Made in Space, if you're listening or you catch wind of this story, let us know, please. I'm serious. It'd be interesting to know. I'm sure there's a technical reason why 3D printing in outer spaces has some advantages over here on Earth. Anyway,
there has to be.
There has to be.
There literally has to be, because nowhere else on Earth, you can put a printer anywhere on Earth. Nowhere else on Earth can you simulate zero gravity in 3D printing. Like, there has to be a use for it. You're right.
Yeah. But on to the next story. Again, from Techno Buffalo, a story by Todd Hazelton. He's a great writer as well. Acer's aluminum Chromebook 14 offers crazy long battery life. There's a great picture and a link here for you in the show notes. And it says, looking for a new Chromebook? Don't want some cheapo plastic thing? Acer might have the answer you're looking for. The company unveiled its latest Chromebook on Tuesday, so this is some weeks back, and it sounds pretty enticing. Someone hide my wallet. The new Chromebook 14 offers an all-aluminum or aluminum body, and depending on how much you want to pay, either a 1920 by 1080 pixel display or a lower resolution 1366 by 768 pixel screen. Me? I'd opt for the former since it's priced at $299.99. Still rather affordable, and packs a 4 gig of RAM, a 1.6 gigahertz Celeron processor, that's Intel processor of course, and 32 gigs of expandable storage.
Now this is this is a Chromebook, folks. Remember, storage really isn't a high necessity here. You're doing everything in the cloud with this device. Okay.
That's right. It's sort of like the laptop version of the old concept of a web appliance from many years ago. Now it's being real in the form of smartphones and these kind of devices. So it says here, no word yet on pricing for the low-res model, but if you can deal with a bit of pixelation, know that both models are safe with up to 14 hours of battery life. 14 hours. Now, The Verge, another publication, also detailed another model that will ship with just 2 gigs of RAM and only 16 gigs of storage, and the pricing wasn't announced for that one either. Looks like there will be an aluminum Chromebook for all price ranges, though, which is pretty enticing. And by the way, Chromebooks, my wife, as you guys know, a tech support person for a big high school in our district, and they have a lot of Chromebooks running around that school. Pre-orders kick off on Amazon today. Now, this was a story filed on March 29th, so it's already there. And you'll also find the Acer Chromebook 14 in Best Buy next month, which it means this month. So it's available through Best Buy if you want to check this out and see if it's a product for you if you're looking for a Chromebook.
All right. So this next story, again, for those of you who are into footwear, stories, and also another shame.
For those of you who wear shoes, I know that's a very defined segment of our listening audience, but for those of you who wear shoes,
Right.
Well, it's so hot here, I ain't. There's a first for the show.
Yeah, right.
Nudie foot.
And again, designed with Autodesk software. So
Yes, another shameless plug. I'm sorry, guys,
Yeah,
but I'm telling you, the stories are good.
yeah, and it looks really cool. Tell us about these.
Sure,
they
you
look
bet.
on the glass. They look like really nice looking sneakers.
Yeah, well, the shoe industry is going through a wonderful transformation. My son's girlfriend works for is a contractor that works with Nike, so of course we learn all about new technologies for shoes and stuff, and it's really an industry that's getting to be more and more technologically advanced. It's just fascinating to me. So anyway, this story doesn't involve Nike. It's Under Armour, as the company unveils a new 3D printed training shoe designed with Autodesk software. Now, this story comes from 3dprint.com. Oh, my bad, I forgot to get the author's name, but the source is 3dprint.com, a great website, folks, if you're really interested in the whole 3D world. Wonderful photograph in our show notes, and it says, the Under Armour Architect, that's the name of the product, is the Under Armour Architect, is a highly advanced, multi-purpose athletic shoe that was designed specifically for customers who regularly perform a wide range of exercises and activities, so cross-trainer, right? The hope is that this new shoe will eliminate the need for active people to need more than one type of shoe and provide support and cushioning no matter what activity they're participating in. The Architect shoe has a latticed 3D printed midsole that is as lightweight and comfortable as a traditional athletic shoe, but also adds the type of stability usually reserved for more specialized shoes. The shoe's 3D printed sole was created at Under Armour's Baltimore headquarters and at their state-of-the-art innovation lab. Under Armour claims that the Architect shoe offers users the ultimate stability and cushioning during workouts and activity. The 3D printed midsole was not the work of a designer using a standard CAD program, but was actually the result of 3D design software company Autodesk and their new generative design software package called Autodesk Within. Now, if you aren't familiar with the term generative design, this is a really, really hot topic in the design community worldwide right now. What this means in a nutshell is, instead of me as a designer saying, I think maybe this bridge arch could be like this, and yes, I have analysis software that can validate whether my thoughts are good, and that validation software, analysis software could say, you know, if you just bend it a little more here, that would increase its tensile strength. I'm using an architecture example or a bridge building example in this case. But what if you had a program that would sit there and take advantage of the infinite compute power of the cloud and sit there and just do billions of what-if possibilities to generate generative design to create all kinds of options and possibilities based on the specs you feed in. I need a bicycle frame that's going to be this, it's going to be that, it's going to be light, it's going to be hold a person from weighing anywhere from 100 to 250 pounds, all those specs into it, and have a generative design program just do its thing and come back to you with an optimized suggestion for a design. That's what we're talking about with generative design, and in this case, the software package from Autodesk, the company I work for, called Autodesk Within. So that's a little lesson on generative design if you're curious what that means.
That is, in a nutshell, that's exactly what machine learning is all about.
Yeah.
NASA has their very famous example about creating an antenna, to be the optimal, kind of configuration for the antennas to have the strongest signal.
Yeah.
And they fed all the specs into a machine, and they said make the most, mathematically optimal configuration for these antennas, and it came back with this weird, crooked bent thing that I think no one in their right mind would ever think of. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, mathematically, scientifically, ifically you could think of, it was the best.
Oh yeah, and spinning off of that, Bren, the world of architecture design and high-rise buildings, and some of these wackadoodle high-rise buildings that they're doing all over the world that are like a mile high or whatever, they're beginning to use generative design, feeding in the specs of the environment, wind velocities, climate, all these sorts of things, and letting the generative design things come back with some really, to your point, really curious, interesting shapes and so forth to deal with wind shear, and it is a whole world. It's just really fascinating. But to go on with the story here, it says the software was created to capitalize on modern computers' ability to quickly and efficiently process complex algorithms and optimize the product design process. And I stress again, further enhanced when you throw it up into the cloud into infinite computing server farms, right? Within, again, Autodesk Within is the generative design software, simply needs the user to enter the parameters under which they need the object design. The object's maximum weight, the amount of stress the object needs to be able to resist, the required durability, and any size or form function restrictions. That's the input that goes in. All of these needs are quickly compared, and the Within software begins producing lattice designs that address all of the structural needs of the object. So yes, this is Autodesk, yes, this is our software, but I thought the trend of this generative design and what's happening in the world of design now with this generative capability is, to me, unbelievably interesting.
Well, and Craig, I mean, you yourself, for anyone who does not know Craig personally, his feet are a constant problem for everyone, for everyone's lives. Like if Craig's feet hurt, everyone's going to know about it. So
I relate.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of our listeners do as well. That's when you want to go get a shoe that is going to help you with foot problems, really the best you could do was go to a store and find one that was pre-made and hopefully fit you the best, or pay even more money, have a mold made of your foot, and then they ship you back a shoe that would fit you best. I mean, generative design is great, but what about shoes that are personalized for you? I mean,
or you have to have dorky orthotics.
Yeah.
Like Bozo Boy here has.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny because things that work best don't necessarily produce things that look aesthetically elegant.
Yeah.
Like case in point, Ben mentioned that antenna. They were looking for the best part. And it didn't look really cool. It was actually kind of gnarly and twisted and everything, but it was the best possible antenna that they could produce, and nobody would have come up with that within a design, just by themselves. And we're seeing a lot of this now. Obviously, with shoes, you still want them to look like shoes, so you
right.
And I'm sure that the internal parts which you really don't see can be shaped accordingly.
Right.
But buildings too. You mentioned some of these buildings. I've seen some designs for buildings that are just really alien, bizarre.
Yeah.
But they are, when it comes to their function, they are incredibly efficient.
Yeah, exactly. A good example of that, guys, would be the Shanghai Tower, which was not done with generative design, but in terms of a shape that's made for its climate environment and situation. Go check out the Shanghai Tower. Opened a couple months ago. And that's a fun one to look at, the twisty kind of shapes. And of course, in Dubai and places like that, you'll see buildings of that exotic nature. Really fascinating.
But I'm not saying that these exotic designs are not visually pleasing. Sometimes they are.
Yeah.
Many times they are. They can be very visually pleasing. It's just that they are extremely unusual, and yet they are incredibly functional. And you see a lot of that happening.
Yeah, and guys, by the way, in terms of generative design, which we're talking about a shoe here today, and because I serve the architecture, engineering, construction side of Autodesk, I'm going to throw in an architecture part of this. What's happening, some of the really exotic stuff that's happening in architecture is generative design to create prefabricated. So you take the total design challenge, you have the generative design determine what would be a great shell for the outer dome of this building or whatever the case may be. And then that in turn becomes file to fabrication technology, if you want to call it that actually produces the Lego Tinker Toy like put together pieces, and then you go to the building site and you just put the pieces together. So the combination of prefab and generative design and all this sort of thing is coming together to create these really not only unusual looking buildings, but highly energy efficient, efficient for wind shear, all kinds of cool things. And so the world of design is just going through a great phase right now with the introduction of more and more prefab. The world of architecture, the world of some parts of consumer design like these shoes are lifting a page from the manufacturing side of the world, which has been hip to these kinds of things a little bit in advance of some of these other fields. So fun stuff going on.
So tell us a little bit of what's going on at Autodesk.
Beyond generative design, which is extremely cool. Yeah, well, again, I said I'm from the architecture, engineering, construction side of the family. For us, April 18 coming up here on your calendar is a big day for us because we'll be releasing our latest generation of some of our key software technologies, Revit for building design, Civil 3D for civil infrastructure design, bridges, roads, that kind of stuff, and then a product that's one of my all-time favorites, InfraWorks 360, InfraWorks 360, which is this fascinating product. The latest enhancements to that is what we'll be announcing on the 18th of April, by the way. This is a product that imagine you're a city planner or a designer of some large, or it doesn't have to necessarily be large, infrastructure project. You can take all kinds of data types, put them together, generate a model, and do early design analysis and visualization.
Well, listen, Ralph, again, I wish we had more time, but it flies by as always, and I want to thank you for being with us here on today's show. Again, you can check the show notes stories that we did not get to today, because there were a lot of them we didn't get to, and on our cheat notes at computeramerica.com. Again, thanks for being here with us. We've got, again, our new social media winner prize, and congratulations to Janan Chekis, who won the MX2 Anywhere 2 wireless mouse. Coming up on Monday, we have, well, actually, we're going to have our Gamer Tuesday with Josh Boykin, and Sandy Berger is going to be joining us on the 13th. It's going to be a really interesting week, and hopefully you'll be here with us when we come back next week. Have a great weekend, and Ben and I will see you same place on Monday afternoon. So until Monday afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you Monday afternoon.
Have a good one, everyone.
10 seconds.
Woohoo!
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Again, thanks to all of you for watching the show. Ralph, again, always a pleasure having you here, and we'll see you. We'll see you next month. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.